come up. Howard Abramson. I live in Mountain Brook.
Okay.
I'm the president of the association, and we're doing a little examination of old easements and things on rights of way, since other developments move across our driveway, and there needs to be some redoing here. And Mark thought I should just mention it to you, because there may be some issue with restricting access on emergency vehicles and things if we choose to do certain things within our purview.
All right, well,
Yeah.
Chris, you want to join us for this?
Yeah.
All right. No, I just thought to include you for the tape.
So
So when you say things within your purview, I'm
Well, if most of the traffic, more than half the traffic that moves on our driveway isn't ours, isn't coming to our development. Right?
okay. It's not
So
your,
if we,
not your traffic.
so the question is, I want to make sure where we stand in terms of easements. If there aren't easements, then I might suggest that our neighbors should help us rebuild the driveway, because we're getting
Right.
close to having to rebuild it.
Right.
And if they don't, then the question is, what would we do about that?
Okay.
Okay.
Which
Yeah,
might be
th-
to restrict access on it, since it's
Yeah.
not our traffic.
But
Right.
I don't think you're going to be able to restrict access if it's going to. You're exactly right. The point you're making is restricting access if it deals with public safety.
But there's
I
another
don't
way.
believe
There's-
you
there's-
can.
You can
There are
you can
different
come in a
ways
garage
in.
way.
But
But-
I'd rather have Chris look at this and be
Well,
the expert on
restricting
it.
access to other than public safety.
Well, it would be, how would we restrict it? We'd have, I don't know whether it's a key gate where you have a key.
Oh, I see what
I
you're
don't know. I mean, it's really preliminary, and I'm just
Yeah,
trying,
that's
right now,
come
I'm
up
just
in
trying to
different
determine
ways.
where we stand, because apparently nobody's looked at this since the same developer built two residential developments next to each other. And apparently, while it went and sought an easement coming out through Garage Way for
Right.
Mountain Meadow, they did not do it going out to Snowsbrook Road
From
Okay.
my-
through Mountain Brook.
over Mountain Brooks.
So clearly, the developer assumed that the main entrance was going to be off of Tecumseh via Garage Way, but that's not, because Garage Way is in such terrible shape, because the owners are not maintaining it, we are bearing the burden of that and carrying all the traffic, not only for Mountain Brook, but for all of Mountain Meadow, and for frankly, most of Garage Way.
Right.
I'm
Because-
assuming, Mark, that there's probably no. Do we have any records at all that go back to when this development was approved? When the
Yes.
site plan was approved?
There are some records that go back. We have plat maps and they
But
have
is there
notes on them.
Is there anything from the minutes of the meetings
Oh,
or
I-
approval?
Probably not.
Probably not. Because my suggestion would be that if there were, and which you're
Right.
saying there's not, so if they come up, we ought to notify them so they can
Right.
read them.
Right,
Right,
exactly.
to see what
Yeah.
was written in there, if anything, because sometimes they will get into discussions in those, in in terms of, you've got to provide access for fire and police and stuff, and they
Yeah,
get
the site
documented.
plan review
Right, but
minutes,
if.
but we'll see if
Some of
we
the
have
old
them.
stuff, they never kept minutes.
Right,
Right.
Right.
But wouldn't it be on the master plan and the
No.
no.
No, it would have been in the discussion, at some point in time, the plan would have had to been approved in a planning board meeting, and now we keep minutes and
Right, so-
tapes and all that stuff. But in the old days, they were
Well,
fairly
the
lax.
only thing that might be is if we have the plat map would have
Yeah.
notes
It would
about
show-
access or something,
Yeah.
that could, I mean, we
Right.
Yeah.
might have that.
So it might just help you in your
It might-
search to better understand it.
Right,
if
and
you
that's
get a hold of the
all I'm
plan.
doing now is fact
Right.
finding. Like I
Yeah.
said, it's interesting that there is a recorded easement through Garage Way.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
again, I have to assume that
So,
you have to
the
infer
plat
some
map,
of the developer's
If there were
intentions.
recorded easements prior to that development, the plat map would have them. They're supposed to have them.
They're
Yeah.
supposed to have,
Supposed to.
yeah.
Well,
So
Mark
we
has
can-
said- so
we
he's gonna
can
take a peek
check
at-
our records.
And I appreciate it, and like I said,
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's all gonna be amicable,
Right,
Yeah.
but I'd like to know before
Sure, yeah.
before I start the conversation.
yeah.
Unless the town would like to pave it for us, in which case we don't have to talk about
No.
Does Mountain Meadow have an easement?
Well, that's
it.
the-
Over Garage
Just
Way,
Garage Way?
Over
that's it.
Garage Way, yeah.
that's all we can find so far.
So Garage Way has an easement to Mountain Meadow.
Yes,
Yes.
It has nothing to do with, so Mountain Meadow does not have an easement to Mountain Brook to come in through that.
as far as we
Right.
can determine.
Okay, so the plat map, let's check the plat, see if we can find the plat map and check it, and that would give us our next step.
Well, yeah, or they
That's
ought
one
to take a
thing.
look at it.
They
Yeah,
need
no,
to
I'm-
look
You
at it.
you certainly have a right to look at all the documentation that exists,
We'll
and I would
try
suggest
to
you do that.
pull that out.
Okay, let me know when, I'm around.
Okay,
Okay?
Thank you.
Great,
All right.
thank you.
thank you.
All right, moving on, anyone else with privilege of the floor? Okay, then we will move to approving the minutes of August 24th, 2016.
I only had one,
I had
well, you did.
a couple.
Lines 106, we made a statement, that they're talking about the school playground project, and the main concern expressed by the board was how this would be funded. It leaves the impression that somehow we were not we didn't have concerns about anything else, and I don't think that's really true. I think we generally did have some concern, I certainly had concerns about the moving the observatory and other stuff, which is what they imply that, so it's kind of implying that we kind of agree with what they want to do if they got the funding, and I don't think that was the gist of our conversation.
Okay,
All right.
how would you like it worded?
Well, how would I like it worded? That the board expressed concerns about the move in general as well as how it would be
Okay.
funded.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one. I have on line 86, it says Mike Aronson approves the revenue changes reflected. Shouldn't that have been approved? Wasn't
It's
that
by
approved
the board.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that needs to be changed. I made a motion to approve. And then on line 131, I didn't understand it. It says there are 3 sewer manholes located in front of the school which require repairs prior to winter. The line I don't understand is the next one. These have sunken over time due to the motor deteriorating from the seepage of road salt.
Mortar.
Okay,
Those old spell checkers.
Yeah, you gotta hate those, huh?
yeah, the motor thing just, and that was it for me.
Yeah.
Line 64, state primary election is Tuesday, September 13th, not the 14th.
Well played.
Yes, so you're reading them very carefully, thank you. That's good.
All right, anything else?
No.
No,
All right, can I get a motion to approve
I
the
will
minutes
make
as
a
amended?
motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Done. All right, we can do our financial update.
Yep, you have the report in front of you. I made a note here at the top that on the revenue side, the 1,190,902 is the adjusted number
Okay.
on the 434. So the percentages that we're looking at right now are based on those numbers.
Okay,
So,
okay.
where we seem to be doing pretty well with revenues. Expenditures, I don't have any departments that I'm concerned about at this point in time. The electric line for streetlights
I was wondering about that.
is slightly ahead of budget.
What are we doing?
um,
Can you refresh my memory as to what we're spending money on in the streetlights?
The 23 streetlights that we have
I
around
understand.
town. Yeah, and they are not metered, they are on a
Right.
flat rate.
Wasn't there something
but-
that changed with the co-op?
Well,
When we had to take it over?
we changed to another energy provider. That number came in higher than I had projected for the budget back in December. So that's why we are about 10% ahead of budget right now. We are back with the co-op because our contract with the other provider expired. They're usually seasonal, a summer contract and a winter contract price. So we're back with the co-op. And
Was this the first year we moved to another vendor?
no, this is the third or fourth
And
year.
who is the other vendor?
It's Constellation Energy is the one
Okay.
that we have been using. And the numbers just they were lower than the co-ops, but they were higher than what we had projected at the beginning of the year. So that's why we're ahead of budget. I expect that we'll end up, the 500, let me just find the line here. The $545 number, I would expect for, the next, 3 months. So we'll be about $500 overspent on that line,
Right.
which is about 10%. A little more than 10%.
All right.
But that's the only line item that we have an issue with right now.
Okay, well,
All right.
that's not much of an
Well,
issue.
it's
No.
not much of an issue, so.
All right, any other questions on financials?
No.
All right, great, we'll move
No.
on. Department heads updates, we'll get everybody out of here nice and early today. All right, this recreation is first on the list.
Okay, pretty slow, quiet around the rec right now. Not many visitors for open gym or any of the other programs, which is usual. We're preparing for the fall foliage race. That's going well. Getting some sponsors and also adding a 10-mile trail race distance this year. Something that we sort of tried out last year, the 4-part series, and so we're just gonna add it on to the fall foliage race for this year. We have a Freiburg Fair field trip coming up on October 4th for anybody who'd like to go.
What day of the week is that?
It's a Tuesday,
Okay.
and it's also Senior Citizens Day, so it's free admission. All you have to do is pay $15.
Really?
And,
Yeah.
and what do they count seniors as?
I think it's 65,
That's good.
yeah.
For some of us.
So we'll try to get a trip going there. We're also doing our preliminary planning for Halloween. We're just gonna go off sort of the same thing we've done in the past, the pumpkin carving on Friday and the trick-or-treating on a Saturday, utilizing the busing again from the resort. We also have a new fitness instructor in town. I think her husband has been hired by the resort, and she is a personal trainer and fitness instructor, and she will be teaching some classes for us, which would be wonderful. She's young and has a lot of energy, so that's great. And after school starts next week on Wednesday, we have 6 kids signed up, and it'll be running Monday through Thursday.
Okay.
What about programming for the after school? Is it all gonna be in-house or are you gonna farm out programming?
We're gonna do almost all in-house. We had set something up with the Ray Center, with Katie Morrison, and then we just got news that she's leaving last week, so we'll have to decide what we're gonna do for that. But we're trying some new things. Whitney and Nelson are taking that on, and they're trying to think of some new, science and sort of STEM focused projects they can do with the kids, but no, we're not farming it out to anyone else.
Okey-doke. Great, thank you. And boats are I noticed that the bikes are staying open, so boats gonna stay open as well?
We have the boats open as we always
for the
have on the
weekends.
weekends. I did see an email that maybe the lifts or the bikes are continuing to
They
be
are.
open during the week, which is something that we're not really
Right.
staffed for.
I don't think the lifts are staying open. I thought the lifts were on the
No,
weekend.
not during the week.
Not during the week,
Right.
on the
Right.
weekends,
Weekend,
but
we're
they've
gonna keep
extended.
running.
Going
to
beyond Columbus Day.
Columbus
Okay.
Day,
Oh, they're,
Right.
yeah.
yeah,
We're going
So the
next week.
same as the boats,
Yeah.
so
okay.
we should be fine.
So the boats are gonna go beyond Columbus Day as well for a week?
No, Monday of Columbus,
Right.
Columbus Day will be the last day, as it traditionally is.
Right. Hey, Tim, is there a specific reason? Do you have groups
We've seen
coming in?
We've seen an increase in occupancy for that weekend after Columbus Day, steady for the past 4 years.
Oh.
So we view that as an opportunity to make revenue.
Okay.
It wouldn't be hard for us to open that next week if we thought it was.
All right, well, why don't you guys talk and see if it's viable, if it's not, you know.
Yep.
But it's just, I hate for people to come up here and get the Freedom Pass and roam around and find nothing that's available.
Yeah.
Right.
One thing that does, though, by the Freedom Pass and WVRA agreement that we have, is our boats stop operating in terms of being reimbursed by the WVRA, and our climbing opens. So that would just have to be something we would have to
Yeah.
get figured out. We offer climbing in place of boats.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
we're never reimbursed for both at simultaneously.
Oh, really?
Right,
Okay, good point. Well, do it, everything's right.
okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I can see going one weekend more, but we do have some work that we have to do in the pond.
Right.
So And we need to lower the level of the pond to do that work, so at some point, we're gonna have to stop the
Okay.
boats.
All right. Anybody else, questions for Rick?
I'd just like her to hang on till we talk about the skateboard park.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Let's go public safety.
We're working on our transition from summer to fall very well. Public Safety Academy starts tonight. We have a pretty good list of people signed up, almost about 18, I believe. So we're gonna have a full house tonight. Other than that, it's been nothing remarkable. Just daily operations going forward, and that's where we are.
And things have been quiet as expected.
We don't like to use the Q word. but
Okay.
How's the new vehicle?
Good, very good, performing well. Couple little glitches that they took care of, nothing serious.
And we're leasing this, is that correct?
We're leasing the Cruiser. The
We
truck is
bought the
paid for.
truck. Get the new pickup
The
truck
cru-
also.
the new, which is the SUV, the Cruiser?
Yes,
Okay.
Does it cost any more to lease an SUV than it does to lease a sedan?
no,
No.
they're the same price,
Okay.
yeah. And it's not an SUV, it's a crossover vehicle. All they do is you order from Ford a Cruiser, and they ask you if you want this style body or that style body.
really? But it's all-wheel drive, isn't
They're,
it?
they're all-wheel drive,
Yeah.
the Cruiser's all-wheel
The
drive,
Cruiser
it's
is
just,
too.
just what they put on the chassis, it's different.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. And staffing is okay, everybody's fine and all that?
Yeah,
Good.
so far so good.
All right. Anything else? Okay, we'll move to Jim.
No.
Things are kind of slowing down for us as far as mowing and especially in garbage and recycling pickups. So, in reference to boats moving forward, another weekend or two, what we have planned is we would like to rebuild the flashboards before winter. So that would require the lowering of the pond at least 3 feet, so. But I guess if it doesn't get extended too long, we'll be able to do that fairly handily. Nothing else more to report. I have one man out on sick leave, and we'll be starting ditches and roadsides tomorrow,
Okay.
Good.
so.
I just got a question where we have the mountain here anyway. Does the mountain still take water periodically from Corcoran's Dam?
Yes, we do.
All right.
Yes,
But cause I remember we used to do the annual, some guy would have to go do a dive to make sure the intakes were still clear. But you take care of that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever needs
Oh,
to be
yeah.
done.
We,
Okay.
we turn the pump on, we make sure everything's pumping right. and
All right.
If we hear the rocks coming up, we
Right.
we send someone down.
I got one for Jim. I know with our ponds, our water treatment plant, are we dealing with anything differently because of the lack of water? Are we low? The water is low everywhere, but is the treatment plant does it impact the treatment plant at all?
Well, rainstorms impact the treatment plant because it increases the volume that you have to
Oh,
treat.
gotcha.
It's actually good
But-
for us.
So it's actually
because
good
we're
for-
No, but I'm
not
wondering, are we
treating-
suffering because of lack of water? Are we saving on chemicals because of lack
We
of
are.
water? And
I would
what
assume.
does
We're
what does the
treating
lack
less.
of water mean to us with the treatment plant?
We're
The
treating
lack-
less.
Yeah, the lack of rain, obviously, I think every inch is 100,000 gallons
Yes.
or it's something to that.
Well, you're
So
talking
this is-
sewage treatment plant.
Yes,
not
sewage
water
treatment,
treatment
yeah.
plant. Gotcha.
So we've actually treated 300,000 gallons plus
Right.
less
Less.
than we would have under average rain,
Good, so that saves us on the chemicals needed and everything else going.
power and
Yeah,
everything.
power and-
Yep.
Good.
So I would think we'd be under budget by the time.
Do we, I was a little surprised about the size of the new water treatment plant going in down there. Do we have a drawing of this building someplace? I
Size?
don't need to see it today, but at the
Oh,
next
yes.
meeting, maybe we could bring a
Sure.
drawing in. I don't ever remember seeing a drawing. I got the impression it was a little hut
No, I
It's
remember
fairly
reading the
sizable.
dimensions, yeah.
Yeah,
The,
no, it's
the, it's a little, it's a little deceptive because the size of the hole is the size it is because of the depth. And so you have to excavate
Oh,
further back.
yeah.
Just,
Number
We'll,
one,
we'll bring it in
but
next meeting.
it'd be, I had a couple residents ask me, so I'd be just curious.
The,
I'd
the
like to take a
building
look at the picture.
basically is gonna be 25 by 25, roughly.
Oh, okay,
The-
that's
the
fairly
building that
sizable.
they'll stay.
Right, all right, yeah,
But
it's not
there's
8
more
by
to
10.
it. There's
No.
more basement to it than there is
Right.
building.
And
Okay.
what's the current building that we have down there? What size is that?
Oh,
Oh,
can't be
geez.
12 by 12, right?
Yeah, well, the addition actually is bigger than the pump room, but it's probably 20 by 24,
Okay.
something like that.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's not
Is that
that
big?
much, it's
It's
not that much
Not that
bigger,
much
Okay,
larger.
all right.
but you're right, the hole is very deceptive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to stop in and take a look, feel free.
They are, the contractor, tell the contractor, they're doing a good job keeping the trucks coming in the back way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the
And that
concrete
really
trucks
does
came
help.
in the back.
Everybody got a map that showed there was
Yeah.
no access from this part of town.
Right,
There was only
yeah.
access from that part of town,
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
we kinda fooled them.
And they poured the concrete this morning, they were pouring
They-
concrete.
Well, they've
Well,
been
the
pouring
base-
concrete all along, right?
Base, no, we poured base, the first pour was this morning, the
Oh,
base
okay.
slab, and they'll start forming walls tomorrow.
Okay. Good.
So if you wanna get your initials in there, Bill.
Oh, now's the
Tonight's
time to go
the
down
night.
and flop in the cement?
Tonight, I'll be putting mine in.
Yeah.
Not exactly the Walk of Fame in Hollywood, but,
Yeah, yeah.
but for Waterville it'll work. All right, well, thanks. All right, calendar review.
You know, that moving my-
Well, I'm not here for the, is it the next meeting?
I am not here for the next meeting, I am in a class.
I am here on the
Yes.
28th.
I won't be here.
It's the 28th is the next meeting?
You'll be
Yeah.
all by yourself.
Well, that doesn't work.
That
No.
doesn't work.
What I will not be here is for the
14.
12th.
That's why we moved, I think we talked about it last time of moving it to the 5th and and
I cannot make the 5th
you
either.
Yeah.
can't, can you make the 5th?
I don't think I can
You
make the
can't.
5th either.
I'm leaving town on the 26th and I won't be
Okay.
back till the 15th.
Okay.
The 26th, so what is, let's,
It's the 28th is the next
Right.
scheduled meeting.
Mhm.
do we want to, what day are you leaving again, Margaret?
26th, Monday.
26th. Bill, can you do the 27th?
Yeah,
Oh, wait a minute, I can't do the 27th.
all right.
I'm in a 2-day seminar, the 20, we can do the 29th?
Yes,
All right, can we move that meeting to the 29th?
you wanna do it on,
Thursday, the 29th.
yes. Okay, you got it.
And will you be calling Inable, or the camel will not have a cell phone?
Mark, yeah, Mike, I can do the 29th, but not at 3 o'clock.
What time would you like to do it?
I'd have to do it like at 1.
Okay, or we could do it at noon if you want. Whatever's easiest for you.
I'm leaving that night to go to Boston. Whatever your preference is, I don't,
What are, let's go 1 o'clock work?
1 o'clock works.
Okay.
So we're going to cancel the meeting then on the 12th? Or you're gonna have the meeting on the 12th? I'm not here, that's all.
And you're not here either.
I won't be here either.
No, neither of them will be here.
So, you wanna
Move it to the next week.
Yep.
move it to the 19th?
I guess we'll have to. Everyone's back, everyone's
Mhm.
rested.
I am back, yes.
Okay, so that takes care of that, so we go to the 19th and the 29th. All right, so we'll move to new business, and we can talk about the flower bed later, but let's talk about the skateboard park.
Oh, I thought I was gonna talk flower bed first, I'm off a little.
Well, let's try to speed up your day for
Well, I
us.
appreciate that, thank you.
Those flower bed conversations can go on for days.
Alright, so
we have had a decision by the planning board, at their meeting last Thursday. Bill, do you wanna talk about what the history of
Yeah,
what
well,
happened?
the history of this has been that they've been on almost, and not according to our regulations, we can't find any reference to it, but they've been going through an annual review and then a permit to use a skate park for another year. At last year's meeting, they said, look, be prepared to come in and do a site plan review, and we'll grant you a permanent right to have the skateboard park there. And they set as a deadline, I think was the end of last month, that the mountain was to come back. And the mountain didn't, well, you were there physically, but there was no, they weren't prepared or anything to submit the data needed for a site plan review. And it's not gonna be easy in this case. It's gonna be complicated. So they asked the Board of Selectmen to issue a cease and desist order, and what I would recommend as follows. Here's my recommendation. This is certainly not binding. That we would propose that we issue a cease and desist order, that you've got to basically start the process of thinking about how to do a site plan. So starting that process might be a consultation with the planning board, followed then by some kind of a schedule, and that you would get the site plan review done by, I think we talked March or April of next year. Now, for all intents and purposes, you're gonna shut this thing down anyway. So the cease and desist order, you wouldn't have to remove the park, you just couldn't use it. You're not using it anyway. I'm trying to get you some time to figure out how to do this. And so my recommendation to the Board of Selectmen is that we would tell you that, come the end of September, when do you normally stop using it?
We've stopped using it for the
Right,
skate.
so come
The
end
skate
of
camp was over
September,
a month ago.
That, we'll give you a cease and desist order that essentially says you can't be used as a skateboard park until you go through site plan review, and we would encourage you to begin that process. Now, I gather now you've expressed, we're not even sure we want to keep this darn thing. Yeah, so we understand the complicated issue here. The complicated issue is that the skateboard park is built on parking, on space that was allocated to parking. So somehow in the process, the planning board is going to have to say, we don't need those parking spaces. Now, if we actually said that we don't need those parking spaces, I don't know what Canton would choose to do with the land. Because it's his land. And I don't know, but anyway, that's the issue that the planning board's going to have to get into. I don't know how it's going to resolve that. From a practical perspective, rarely, those parking lots never fill up. But, how do you change things in a way that allow that to happen? I don't know. I haven't the slightest idea how we'd go about doing that. I haven't really given it much thought. But anyway, that's the status. But what I also understand now is that you've expressed some interest that maybe you're not going to continue to do this anyway. So for the immediate time, maybe it gives you a little time to think about it. But what I would recommend is that either make a decision that you're not going to use it anymore, but we'll give you a couple of months to figure that out. And if you decide that you want to keep it, then I think what we would say is start the process with the planning board and I would start with consultation of what is it that they want to see in order to be able to make this an approved use that would last in perpetuity. In other words, we would go with the land. I don't think so much is the issue of a skateboard park. The issue is
Non-parking lot use.
No.
Okay.
how do we relieve the land from its burden of having to be parking spaces? That's the challenge. And that's, I know, not your problem, but that's where it's located, and that's part of the problem that we've got.
Tim, didn't you just put a lot of work into it? this
We put a
spring.
lot of work into it every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's part of the burden of that park is
Yeah.
we, in past history, we had always made our money back through skate camp. But for the past few years, skateboard camp enrollment has been substantially down due to factors that are outside of our control. The skateboard industry is significantly down, and like all businesses, it has a wave, and we're at hopefully the bottom of that wave, but we haven't hit rock bottom on that, so we're not sure. But for us, it's a lost leader for us, and we're not sure if we want to continue with it.
Gotcha.
Now, we do have an
So-
issue. We do have an issue though of it is, you know, we as much as it's used for the skate camp, it is also used by citizens that just
Right.
take their kids to go ride on their bikes around those ramps or ride on and I see that all the time too. So, and I don't want to take that away from the citizens.
Well, I don't either, but I'm not so sure. If we issue a cease and desist order, that we're gonna have to find a way to just lock it up. Right? I mean,
See,
we don't ask you to take it down, but we need to discourage anybody from using it.
So is there anything we can do where instead of issuing a cease and desist order, which can be not enforced if the steps are taken towards a site plan review?
Well, the cease and desist order I would propose says that, effectively they're shut down. So it's not like we're taking something, you know, it's like they're not gonna run it in the winter anyway.
Right, but
So at the end of September, we'd issue a cease and desist order that says by the end of September, stop using the skateboard park.
But it's not them that are using the skateboard park. That's the question I've got. It's the kids that drive in from Plymouth, the kids that Waterville kids on their bicycles, and all of that. And it's kind of always been that way.
I
Where
know,
when the skateboard park,
I don't know, now we're into Chris. Chris, what would you do?
yeah,
We would go by on whatever direction we heard from the mountain or. the
Right, but
board.
I mean, the casual user, kids coming in and using it casually, is that, can we do anything to? We
Yeah,
can
we
just
can
go
keep
over
them
and we
from-
could post
from-
it, put a sign up and say, you know, the skateboard park is closed, you know?
We can enforce that and,
Yeah, I
we
mean,
just go
best
by
we can,
whatever
try to enforce
direction
it.
we get from, it's been the mountain, you know, we've called up there and said, hey, is this okay? And yeah, it's okay, so we don't touch it, but, if it's not okay anymore, we can certainly go out there.
well, there's a difference here between operating a commercial venture as a skate park or just having a skate park there. It's kind of like if it was a natural skate park, a natural bowl, like the Fountains Andrew skates in Boston, they go down and do that.
Well, it's private property.
What is there is not permitted to be there right now.
Right,
And that was the issue that town council
Right.
had, was just take steps to get it permitted.
Okay,
Like Bill said, if they start the application
Right.
process, then the cease and desist order is being met.
right.
That's the condition of
Okay,
the cease and
but-
desist, is just start the application process. It doesn't matter if the application process is finished at
Right.
this point, but like Bill said, it gives us a few months to decide what to do with the facility during a period that it's gonna see very little, if any, use anyway. So,
but the question I have I have a couple of questions and concerns with this going forward. That if they come in and they say, we're gonna start our consultation,
Right.
and we're gonna start really working on this. So they say that,
Mhm.
and it's, March,
Right.
it's getting time for them to need to prepare their marketing materials to decide whether they're gonna do a skate camp again.
right,
Will the fact that they have started the process allow them to enjoy the use they've had now? Because what could happen, and I'm just looking to your side, is if they go forth in good faith with this, and all of a sudden the site plan approval gets bogged up in the planning board, and they got kids who've spent money for skate camp and they've hired staff for skate camp. And are we gonna run into an issue where someone's gonna go, well, you don't have the final approval, you can't run the skate camp? So I wanna be kinda clear on that as to, under this cease and desist with their option to start the process, what could happen down the road?
Well,
It's also-
ideally,
well, the
we should
site-
get the process done by
Right.
the
The site
first
plan,
of
the s-
March or something.
there's time limits in the site plan review regulations
Right.
that require the planning board to make a decision within a certain number of days of submission of the application.
But
But
suppose
so-
they never submit an application.
Or the application gets
Well-
kicked out as not completed
If
for this
if
meeting.
they never submit an application,
Then-
we're eventually gonna issue an order that somebody's
That's right.
gotta remove
That's
the
right.
park.
Okay.
They're gonna, eventually, that's what it's gonna end up as.
Right.
Is not only can't you use it, but the next step is gonna be, you gotta
That's right.
physically take the materials out of there.
Right.
Right, because it's not a non-approved use.
And instead of going to that extent right now, all we're saying is let's start a process for review of it.
Right,
It can all stay there, it can stay there over the winter while the discussion is going on.
right.
And then, depending on the outcome of your business decision and the planning board's site plan review, and other discussions that we may have in this next 6 months, we'll decide whether or not the stuff has to be removed.
But it has to be closed.
But right now, it has to be closed
Has
and
to
it
be
should be
closed.
secured so that nobody can use it.
Well, how is that gonna affect our Waterville kids that
Well,
are
they
using
can't,
it?
they're not,
Chris, are you seeing kids in there?
Not as much as years prior, it's very, very, very seldom do we see people over there.
Now, is it a feature that people come to Waterville to enjoy?
At one point, the Beckett School was coming up here once or twice a week in the evenings, but I don't even think they're up here anymore.
Tell you my kids use it.
Yeah. Andrew used
I'll
to,
tell you that their friends use it, so.
yeah.
well, if there is something before the planning board, the cease and desist order has been met. So if there's limited use of the property, I don't see any, but if there's nothing before the planning board, then it would need to be secured and nobody use it. I mean, the cease and desist order is contingent just upon
Right.
doing the application
Starting the
process,
application.
which includes a conceptual consultation
Right,
that
where
you
you
don't
can-
even have to have
Prepare
a
anything,
plan
you
for.
just come in
You
and
just
find
come in
out,
and start
go
talking
in and
to
say,
them.
what would I
That's right.
need
Which I've
to
done.
do?
You,
I have come
yes,
in.
but you have not done it as part of a site plan.
Okay.
No, it's,
No, I understand what you're
it's
saying.
not just get it on the agenda.
Yep.
Then we have something to point to
Okay.
that says the process has been started
So
for site plan review. That's all it takes.
if they come in and say, I'd like to get this on the agenda for the next planning board,
Yes.
can the park stay open the way it is for now? With
For
the
right
limited
now,
use?
I would say that's your decision, but yes, I would say that they've met the intent of the cease and desist order.
Does that work
But,
for you,
but
Bill?
I still think you should have a signed cease and desist order that requires that, just to
All right.
complete the paperwork.
I just wanna
That's
make
all.
sure that the mountain is clear on what we're doing and public safety's clear and we're all clear on what the actions are gonna be, what the cause and effect.
Let's back up here, because we're missing something. I got the gist from your memo, the mountain's thinking, maybe we're not even gonna be in this business.
Correct.
Do you have any idea when have you made that decision?
No,
No, but you'd like some time to make that decision.
correct.
How long would it take you realistically to decide?
We have to have that made by March, because March is when we mark it.
Right. So this all works then if we say, let's start the process, and if by the end, like the beginning of March, you either gotta have an approval from the planning board so that you can go ahead and mark it, or you're gonna come in and say, we're giving up. You know, that's it, we're gonna stop.
Yep.
And stop running the skateboard.
So at
park.
that
That's fine.
point, just so I'm clear, so I can make a good decision, if we decide that we're out of the skate park business,
Right.
it is the opinion of the selectmen that the skate park would then be removed.
Well, no, now, and then we're into another, if you decide to go out, that's why I've asked Brooke to sit here. Because then the question becomes, does the town wanna run a skateboard park? I don't think we wanna run it there. you know, on that particular location, because that's not our property or land. I'm not sure if we wanna have as the rec, and I'd ask Brooke to take a look at that as an amenity. Does she wanna operate a skateboard
Right.
park? I don't have any idea what's involved in that.
I can't
But
say anything
I don't
about
know
that
of any,
right now.
is there anybody else in town that we could think of that might be interested in taking this whole?
Yeah, BBTS is probably the only other organization.
Why would they be interested in
Well,
skateboard
their
park?
kids,
Their kids like to do
their kids like to do
skateboard.
skateboarding.
Well, we could approach them.
Yeah.
But they would have to get Cantlin's permission to continue to use
Absolutely.
that land
Yep.
for that
Yep.
purpose. I mean, it's
Whoever
not,
ends up with it would have to go through the same
Goes
process.
through
And
the
they'd have to
same
go through the
site
same
plan
process,
review.
right.
Yep.
Alright, so if they if they get something on the agenda tonight or tomorrow stating that they are gonna come in for a consultation for the site
yeah,
plan
I'm fine
for-
with that.
and we will not have a problem till March.
Well, except that we
Yeah.
don't use the thing now anyway.
Well, the next couple of weeks, kids,
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not
I
worried
have
about
a
the next couple of weeks.
suggestion, I get
yeah.
a sense from a lot of people that are talking now for the, thinking about the local kids in
Yeah.
town, wanting to use that and having them be able to use that. If we post date the cease and desist until November first.
November, yeah, I mean, after November
you
first,
know,
you shouldn't be out there
whatever.
skateboarding anyway, right?
you kids.
Well,
Yeah,
once
no,
it-
I
I mean,
understand your
because of
point.
the
It's
weather,
dark,
I
it's
mean,
dark and cold.
I don't think there's any problem with them continuing to use it as long as the process has been started.
Right, okay,
That was what
That's
town
fine with
council
me.
said, just start
Right.
the process,
yeah.
so we have something to point to.
All right, Mark, so tell us what we need to do to end this conversation.
So to end the conversation, you need to start, one is you'll need to start the process. What you need, you should just come in and ask the question, help me to understand of all these regulations, if I wanted to go through a site plan review process in the skate park, what would I have to bring? What
Yep,
would you ask me
similar to the horses.
develop?
Similar
Right.
to the.
Similar to the horses.
Similar,
Yeah.
exactly the
Conceptual
same thing as
consultation.
horses. Most of these regulations don't deal with items like this. There's really only, from my perspective, two issues that have to be wrestled with. One is the question, is an allowed use on village commercial property? They're gonna have to read the book and
is,
decide
yep.
whether it's allowed or
Yep.
it's not allowed, all right? I guess you could argue there's a public safety concern. You know, there can't be a nuisance to the public, but it hasn't been up to now, so I don't imagine that'd be much of an issue. And the bigger problem is, if we make this a permanent, what we're essentially saying is we don't need the parking spaces that in theory were allocated. And we're gonna and the planning
Yeah, you're
board's gonna
opening a
have to
whole new-
wrestle with, what does that mean if they allow you to start taking away parking spaces that in theory were required, you know?
Yeah.
Do they rescind those? Is that I mean, who makes the decision?
Right.
I don't know. So those are the issues they're gonna have to wrestle with.
So I have a cease and desist
Yeah.
order that I've drafted,
Right.
that is in the format that we use
Okay,
all the time. It says that the commercial activity, the skateboard park, is in violation of the subdiv
right.
regulation and the site plan review regs. And they're ordered to cease all activity until they've made application,
Right.
which the conceptual consultation is part of the application process.
Right,
So if they have started that,
right.
then the cease and desist has been met.
And did you give them a date
I
when they
didn't,
have
I
to be
I
completed
purposely
by?
did not put any dates in this one because there are further orders depending on what direction it goes.
Okay,
It allows
Alright,
us
alright.
flexibility.
all
So,
right,
so
that's fine.
all he has to do is send an email that says, I wanna be on the agenda for a conceptual consultation.
Patient, and there you go. And then.
Yeah, and that's,
And then.
Alright.
but,
it's
but then
the same.
everybody's got everything covered.
Okay, great. Is
From
there,
what-
is there a motion to
Yep.
authorize the cease and desist order for the skate park?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll mail this to you just to make it even more.
Oh,
confusing.
great.
We will.
Fantastic. So I can have another folder like
Yes.
this for skate park.
Well, you should
Similar
already
size
have
to the
one then.
horses.
No, this one's horse.
Right, no,
This-
but you should
Oh,
already
wait,
have
wait,
one then.
here, yep, there it is.
It's already
Skate
started.
camp. There it is.
Oh, give us some time.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Tim, while you're here,
Yes, sir.
is this part of the extended summer season on bike trails? Do you have anything to do with that?
Honestly, I didn't know that it was on the agenda, but I
Well,
can answer any
it-
questions.
All it was the email that Barry sent out
Okay.
notifying us, and
Yep.
we just wanted to let the board know that you
Sure.
had extended
Yep.
your.
If you have any questions, I'm
No,
I know,
happy
I
to
just saw it
answer.
on the agenda, I didn't know what it
No,
was.
that's all it is a
Okay.
notification.
Great.
So, Brooke, while we have you here, I just ask you to begin thinking about whether you want to get in the skateboard park business or not.
You can get some temporary tattoos and see how they work.
I mean, we run playgrounds.
Nose
I mean, a
ring.
lot of towns have skateboard parks as a playground
Yeah.
in Amity.
Yep,
It's big, it's
Right.
Salt Lake City and Park City, they're all over the place.
exactly.
Yeah.
My experience with it in Arizona was that it requires a lot of staff and it involves injuries.
Well, two things we love.
Yeah, we'll talk later.
Yeah, but that's really all that's
Yeah,
my experience with it. But I know some are not staff, but I would have to look more into it,
Okay.
that you
All right.
can consider it.
Sure, well, you got lots of time.
Yeah.
We're not saying you have to do one thing or the other.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
We'll
Thanks,
move
Tim.
on to a request for a flower bed at the library.
You have the email from Martha,
Yeah.
just requesting, while we have Jim here, requesting to put in a flower bed in back of the library. And she just wanted to get an answer now so that she could start preparing the land, to get it ready for the spring. So,
Is this an
if-
existing bed?
no, there's no bed out there now,
So
it's
we would
just
be
grass.
tearing up the sod?
I don't know how she would be doing it, but I imagine she'd be cutting a rectangle out and putting the bed in there. I don't see, personally, it's just an area that we mow. We don't really have any issue with putting the flower bed in there. If she wants to take that on and install it in there. We already have the memorial elm tree there and the rocks and the little park type thing off to the side of the library. I think, I don't know what everybody's opinion is, but I don't think it would be a bad spot to have it.
I would think if it's okay with the trustees, it's
Yeah,
okay with us.
she's already cleared it with the
Well,
trustees.
she said she spoke to one of the trustees.
Well, okay.
So,
She's started that
yeah,
process
that's-
then. If it's, so you're okay if it's okay with the library trustees?
Mm-hmm,
Would that be all right
Yeah.
to say?
All right,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
all right, great, move on from that. On to old business. Dog park request.
You have the email from David. I thought he was gonna be
David is suggesting
here.
a dog park where?
He is suggesting a dog park somewhere in town.
Somewhere's in town.
Somewhere in town.
But they talked about the space below the Mad River.
That came from Jan Stearns. I guess she and David were talking about it, and Jan, I've also talked to Jan about this. Jan agrees with David that we need a dog park here in town. And she is talking about it from the sense of, because I brought up 700,000 acres of national forest as being a great dog park, but she is thinking
Does
of
seem
it
to be a
from
little-
well, she's thinking of it from a very controlled environment where you have a fenced area and
So
a
like
place where the
Central-
dogs
This is
can.
like in New York City.
That's correct.
Washington
Yes,
Square
exactly.
Park.
Yes, we really need a roped off place with 7,000 acres in.
700,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but this is, I'm just
Okay.
providing you information. I'm not going one way or the other here, but, so they, Jan forwarded you the information
From
regarding the land below Mad River condominiums, which is town-owned, rec-zoned land. And there is an easement, as the deed shows, that goes between Mad River and Osceola 2 condominiums.
So are they asking for the
So-
town to maintain this land, this park?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, why don't,
What do we do with it? What's down there now?
nothing.
All
It's
right,
a
well, I
floodplain.
mean, is it just,
It's trees.
a couple of trees?
No, lots of trees.
Lots
It's
of
a-
Each
it's
dog
heavily
gets- Each
wooded.
dog gets its own tree.
Heavily wooded. It's part, it looks like the national forest right now.
You know, I have no problem designating an area.
Yeah.
that
But
this is
maintaining
a
it,
dog, but
yeah.
but to
Yeah.
spend $1 on maintenance seems to
Right.
me to be a little
No,
silly.
I'm
Yeah.
fine with that.
Yep. Well, why don't they come in with a plan? We don't have a problem with a plan, but we don't have a plan to
Gonna raise-
maintain it.
Okay.
We're gonna raise funds to,
So I'll just tell them to come in with a plan.
We've just gone through our two favorite topics,
well, no,
flowers and
I,
dogs.
if they want to.
Yeah, if they want to.
I mean, I'm not encouraging them to.
No, I understand.
We have no problem with this as a private project, how's that?
There you go. But we question, I for one question spending public monies
Yeah.
Mhm.
when we've got 700,000 acres of.
Bunch of
Relatively
trees that have never
I
been
think-
used.
That's
Yeah.
right. There are plenty of trees.
I think what David and others were looking for, was someplace that was identified as, and as an example, in the winter, usually on Saturday afternoons around 4 o'clock, there's a group that gets together on Packard's Field.
Mhm.
Okay, I mean, it's not roped off,
Okay.
and everybody takes care of their own dogs and that kind of thing, and that's
Yeah.
but it's very informal. I think he was looking for some place to be designated so that if people wanted to get together with their dogs, they could go to that place.
Would it be usable for that purpose if it's all trees?
I have no idea.
Oh,
I've not
okay.
been there.
Hmm.
I'll check it out.
But can you get in and out easily in the winter from down there?
No, you can't.
No, that's.
No,
all right,
There's
well,
no existing path.
Right.
Or stairs or anything
Right.
like that.
right.
It would take a lot of money to
No,
prepare
that's-
that area.
Well,
to-
maybe we should ask David to put together a little committee of people that want to research
Sure.
this and present a proposal.
Okay.
Well, it's similar. I mean, Cantlin called me because he didn't know who else to call. He couldn't call you. He'd like to sell the town that whole chunk of property down there.
Well, that's below,
Well, it's all
High
that bottom
country.
river
High
land, which
country,
can't be
yeah.
used for anything else.
Right.
And I'm scratching my head, what the heck would we use it for if we bought it? And I can't come up with, there's lots of things you could do in terms of expanding park access and stuff. But down there, who's gonna go around and walk down there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now, that would be the place for the horse thing or something to be, that's what another thought I heard for that area, that land. But I don't know.
Well,
All right. so-
okay, well, so give some thought, I don't know
Yep.
I don't know why we would want that, but maybe we do.
Water and sewer project update.
Go ahead, Jim.
As I told you before, we poured concrete, first pour of concrete was today. We're right now looking to pour, 2 sections of walls on, Monday. And then if things go well, then the walls should be completed. This is the accelerated, we're, not anticipating that this is gonna be happening, but this is the accelerated, schedule, that the following sections of walls, the walls would be done by next Friday, a week from this Friday. And then that would leave us with 3 more pours, to cap the building off with 2 slab pours there, and then there's some odds and ends on the last pour. So it looks right now, God willing, and the weather holds, and things keep going the way it's going, that we'll be ahead of schedule. So that's our
Good.
game plan. So things are going quite well. I am not aware of any complaints or anything, and you did mention before that the truck traffic you're happy with. And
Yep.
And so if there are any complaints, I hope you do pass them on to me as soon as you get them, and I'll try to deal with those. and, I'm there most every day, and if anybody wants to come in and take a look.
Do you wanna talk about the letter now, or that,
Mark's got it
It's
lowered.
under correspondence.
Yeah.
All right.
We can do that if you
Well,
want.
let's tie this on together,
Yeah.
let's talk about the letter.
Okay.
You know, what's your interpretation of that letter? First of all, when I read it, I distinctly got the impression that if we get done by the end of March, they don't have a problem.
That's
Right.
correct.
The question was the extension to June, not an extension. They're
Right.
just saying, we erred in giving you 9 months, we should have given you 6 months.
Well, they
So-
did give us 6 months verbally. When they sent us the email from Washington,
Right.
it came as a 9-month extension.
Right.
This letter takes us back to
To
the
the 6
verbal,
month, the verbal.
6 month.
Right, okay.
which they originally
So here's
gave
my
us.
question, and this
Yes.
really gets into where we are with pouring and everything else.
Mhm.
Can we get everything done by March 1st?
Yes, substantial
Can we get the
Completion
substantial
can-
completion?
substantial completion by contract is February 25th.
Correct.
Okay,
180
so
days.
they get 180 days to do the project, the current contractor.
Okay?
We have a signed contract with that, and he is planned everything to that 180 days. Right, Jim?
That's correct.
And
So-
so he has been relatively informed that
He-
if he doesn't make it,
He
by
has
those
been
dates-
explicitly informed that there is no money after March 31st,
okay.
and that he must meet substantial completion by February 25th.
So regardless of what they do, I think we ought to just drive towards getting this project
Right.
done,
Absolutely.
period.
Yep.
You know,
And-
and getting this nightmare behind us.
And the thing about substantial completion, number one, it's defined in the contract what that is.
Okay.
Okay, so he knows,
But is it the
How to
same
get-
definition that USDA has?
yes.
RDA?
Well, no, USDA has approved the contract. It's their,
Okay.
it's their language, okay?
All right,
So when he reaches substantial completion, we can go to rural development
I get the money.
and we can get all the grant money, as long as he has reached substantial completion. We will get every dollar of grant
And to
money.
your mind, there's no confusion or
No.
possible area of misunderstanding of anything relative to what this substantial
No.
completion means?
Okay,
No, it is laid out specifically in the document, in the contract document.
Okay.
all right.
And that means that that well 4 is done, the building is done, well 4 is connected to the building, and all the pumps and everything work. The only thing that we will have left to do is between the town and DES for the certification of the water quality. And we'll be
Okay.
doing water, we've already done most of that water testing already. So it's just verifying those previous tests and getting the certification from DES to pump the water into the system. But all the physical connections will be made by substantial completion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we ought to, you know, I'm not sure it's worth fighting all that hard for the
Well-
3 months.
Well, I've notified AOT's
Well,
office.
This is what I suggested to Mark,
Yep.
that we notify AOT's office about this
Right.
miscommunication,
Right.
so we have that in our back pocket if
Sure.
we have a problem.
That's right.
Right.
And so that's done, so we're
But we're
okay.
gonna go on the basis of, we'll get this done.
Right,
Right,
Okay.
all right, so let's just stay on top of it and
Yeah.
okay. Hopefully all the
No
pours
problem.
will go well.
Yep.
Excellent. All right, Land and Water Conservation Fund grant application.
Yep, I just wanted to notify you, that we have pulled that application. The athletic club, board denied the revised request for the donation of the property, to build the, playground area behind the school. It did include an area for a couple of pickleball courts in the amount of land that we were requesting that they donate to us. Just seeing that as another need that could possibly help make the the project acceptable to the town. With their denial of that request, we don't have sufficient area
Right.
to build anything, so.
Is this a one-time grant that's
No,
going to go every year?
It's an
Is another
annual,
thing?
yeah. This is
So
like
we
the,
could give some thought to possibly whether the piece of property down below along the Mad River might be a suitable place for a combination of a basketball court, pickleball courts outdoors, skateboard park,
sure,
some of those amenities, and we
Absolutely.
could get maybe a grant or something to
Mhm.
help
You
us
mean
build
below
stuff.
high country,
Yeah,
below high country?
I
Well,
think that's what
yeah,
it is.
this land is below high.
Yeah,
Well,
right,
if-
yeah, the stuff below down there along the river.
the good, well, then we would have to talk to the Waterville Company about their donating that land, because that,
Right.
the value of the land is what we use for the match for the grant. But yes, that area
Oh.
would be
What's
an
the
area.
nature of the grant?
80-20.
In other words, they take the value of the land.
That's
No,
it.
this grant is 50/50.
Okay, the other one's.
Yeah,
80.
And
they
explain
take the
to me the
value of the
grant.
land, so if we have a parcel of land that we value at $100,000.
Right.
And somebody donates that to the town and we build on it, we can leverage $100,000 in cash using the donation as our match in the 50/50
Gotcha.
match for the project. So the total project value would be looked at as $200,000. Our share is $100,000 in land donated to the town.
The athletic center is basically not interested in
They are not.
donating that land
Any
at
land.
all.
Any Well-
They wanna either use it for their own use or sell
right.
it, is that
That's
correct?
correct.
Yeah,
They've offered as part of these discussions to sell it to the town,
Right.
But
but
that doesn't work under the
Right.
grant process.
Well, what it would do is, we could leverage money, but we would have to raise money
You'd have to
to
raise the money to
leverage
buy
money,
it.
to buy it.
to buy it.
Yeah,
So-
but if we raise the money to buy it,
Yes,
Right.
could we then leverage,
yes.
could we then recover half of that through this grant process?
We could recover whatever money we raise, so if we raised $100,000 and bought the land, then we could leverage $100,000 more. So the total project again would be
Okay,
$200,000.
so it's not, doesn't start with triggering somebody giving it to us.
No, it's
No,
No,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
just a way of us not having to
to raise
raise
the money
any
for the down
cash.
payment. It's like a
Right.
zero down.
So
Right.
is it, in both cases, is it
Mhm.
worth looking at, I mean, the idea of a basketball court and an outdoor pickleball, I mean, maybe the citizens would like that, they certainly would like
They
the
would love
pickleball.
that.
They would love it from the rec standpoint. The thing that we're trying to also solve in this whole thing is the situation with the playgrounds,
Right,
and the schools. So the rec land below High Country would be great from the rec standpoint. We could run programs out there and everything. That would be wonderful, but it doesn't address
well, I'm
the-
just wondering, whether we should start a conversation with both parties as to what do they, what would be the value, you know, if, so, okay, you don't wanna give it to us.
Oh,
What'd
we
you
could
sell it
have
to us
that.
for?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We
I think
could,
I think I'd ask that question, I mean,
We
not
could have
not
that
obligated, why not
discussion.
ask the question,
sure, absolutely.
you know? The reality is the sports center can't do a darn thing with that land.
That's right, it's
See,
special
they're
civic.
not of that impression.
They're not under that impression,
They
but
have
they
a
haven't
completely
read
different
design
other view
ordinance.
of that.
Well, good for them,
Yeah.
they are on special civic.
They're on special civic
They're on
land,
land that's
so-
owned special civic. And I don't know what you do, you know, is very, I mean, other than you can build a
It's pretty limited.
school.
It's pretty limited.
I'm just telling you the conversations I've had with them.
Yeah,
They are-
well, and they're entitled to their opinions,
Yes.
but maybe we ought to find out whether whether they think it's,
Sure.
yeah.
All right,
We can start that.
all right, so that is that. We'll go to correspondence now. We have Bob Gilbert resigning from the planning board.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do we need to, there's been, I think, a recommendation that we make
John Racine. and-
John Racine as a permanent member?
I've
Isn't
talked-
that the planning board that gets to
No,
decide that?
you.
John okay with that?
Yeah, oh, well, I haven't had a chance to talk to John
Is
yet,
Terry
but
okay
Terry
with
is okay with it.
So I'll make a motion that we appoint John Racine to become a permanent member of the planning board.
Wait 1 second before we do that. There was something in the correspondence about talking to Ray to see if he wanted to be a full member before you made an appointment?
Ray has told both Terry and I before
That he
that
doesn't-
when he moved off from being a permanent member, that he did not want to
Okay,
be a
I just
permanent member.
wanted,
So, yeah, so I think Ray's been pretty clear that he
All right.
didn't wanna do
So I'll
it.
make a motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Done. All right.
So reach out to John and make sure he's okay with that, that
All
he
right.
knows.
And Rich, you're an alternate on the planning board?
So
Okay.
we now have 2 vacancies in the alternates on the planning board, 2 holes.
Yeah,
Now, that's important because if full members can't be there,
right.
the alternates fill in. So we're down to 9 people to make a 7-person board. And we have a history of having a few members every meeting. meeting out,
We're
so.
one of these days gonna have to go through the list of residents in the last couple of years and see if we can generate a list of people that we think potentially we could approach in terms of volunteering to take up some of these positions. I mean, we do need, we have a not completely non-functioning
Conservation.
conservation
Yeah.
commission, cause there's nobody. So we need about a half a dozen people.
Mhm.
Yeah. Why don't we,
And
Sure do.
can we have the new resident list for the next meeting?
Yep.
Reggie?
Um,
Residents for the last, say, year and a half?
I was a resident, all put together by next week.
And maybe we can put mailings out to these people, just talking about community
Yeah.
service.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Extended summer season on bike trails.
We did that.
Okay. They're going to run the bikes for another couple of weeks.
Mhm.
Excellent. All right. Nothing to do with that. The biggie.
Yep.
Coalition's community notice. Did you get a chance to read this?
Yeah, but it doesn't say anything yet. It just says the
Right.
legislature may do something.
Yeah, but what it said to me was the Supreme Court upheld the decision of Dover.
Right.
to
Well,
be-
one of the superior courts did.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
there's a-
so they've gotta.
It
they've
still
gotta
can be
Oh, no,
appealed
I-
to the Supreme
So
Court.
they've gotta give Dover more money.
Right.
The state has to give Dover the
More
$14
money,
million.
right.
But it also opens the door to other communities doing the same thing. Because basically.
No, I'm assuming there are several communities that are in the same position as Dover. This is where their population is declining and their
Well-
funds got cut.
No, what happened was the state did an education
Right.
formula. And then they said, we don't have that much money, so we're gonna give you 80% of it.
Right.
And that meant that the city of Dover was paid $14 million less than the fully funded formula would have paid them.
Right.
So, number one, the court gave Dover $14 million
But where does the 14 come from?
from the state.
Okay.
Yeah. And they said that the funding formula, because it was limited to the whatever percentage, I made up 80%, but that the fact that the state did not fully fund the formula was unconstitutional. So it's gonna cause the legislature in the upcoming session to have to address this one way or the other.
Right.
And if you remember back to when we stopped being a donor town and got to keep the money, that was part of this not funding the full cost of the education formula. So that's why it opens up the the door to the
Sure.
potential for donor communities coming back,
Right.
so.
But it
Just
has,
something-
it hasn't as of yet.
It has not as of yet, and it's something that we just really need to get back into the group and watch the legislation as we go forward.
Okay.
Excuse me just for a second, sorry. I do have to take this. Hello, this is Mark. Hi.
So we don't know what that's gonna be.
We have,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any course of action we can take,
We're at this stage, no.
none.
All right. We could go to board concerns and directives if anyone's got anything.
No.
How about privilege of the floor number 2? And, hi Reggie.
Hi. I read a little article in the Week Wagon. I was wondering if you want me to put something in there, a shout out to the community if people are interested in serving on committees in the town.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be terrific.
And I think the direct mail might help a little bit too.
Okay.
It's, we know you're here.
So one board of concern, and it's not a board concern and directive, and with my understanding, Margaret, that poll sitting, we can, as selectmen, we can delegate that responsibility to another something.
Yeah, when I went to the training, what they said was that you should have the majority of your select board there for an election,
Right,
but it is possible to delegate.
okay.
Now, can you delegate to someone who is a poll
Marilyn-
worker already?
Marilyn would have to answer that question for us.
Well, Reggie,
She's, well, unless you know Reggie.
What was the question again?
We constantly get into this thing, well, you know how it was yesterday, we kinda sat there and not much to do for the 3 hours or whatever you were on. How many selectmen are required to be there at the time of an election? And when I went to the training, they said it's a majority, but that there's a new rule out that says that a selectman can have somebody substitute for them.
I think I read someplace where you could have a designated person do it for you,
Right,
so.
right. But I don't know what the rest of the rules around that are. Does it have to be a resident? Can it be anybody? Could it be one of the poll workers who's already there? I don't know what the
I
rest of
don't
the
know, we'll
rules.
have to look into that, we'll
Yeah.
get back to you, I'll talk to Marilyn.
Right, and we ought to
Okay.
get the answer to
Answers.
that before the election in November.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Right. It's just one of those really exciting afternoons.
it is. The lemon scores were very good, thank you. All right, so if we don't have any of this, we could probably, unless Mark's got something for us. Did Sharon, do you know if Mark has anything more for us?
I thought there was something for non-public.
Yeah, well, I know, I was going to non-public, because I'd like Reggie to stick around for a non-public thing, if possible.
Okay.
So I guess if we have nothing else, at after 4, we're gonna go into non-public, and we wanna thank everybody for being here. And
Thank you.
Reggie, if you would just join us for non-public for a moment, that'd be great.